Hey guys, welcome back to Carly's Creations. And my kids are back in school, so yay! So that means that I can actually sit down and do some more videos for you without being interrupted every 30 seconds. And if you have kids, you know exactly what I mean. So don't mind the funny voice I got going on here. I've been sick for a few days, and so I'm still a little congested, so don't mind me. But anyway, so I am working on a tumbler, and I just thought, well, let's hop on, and I'm going to show you some things that I've already shown you, and I'm going to show you some new things as well. So I know I do have a video already with the ombre and the steps to do the ombre look on your tumbler, which is what I'm going to be doing on this guy right here. But I'm also going to be adding in some chunky glitter and applying a water slide image to that. So I thought I would show you how I do it with those additional steps added in. So, all right, let's get started. I am using today a 30-ounce Ozark tumbler, and I will link everything down in the descriptions below for you. I did spray paint it a dark purple on top and then a white on the bottom. So again, I'll link all that in the descriptions below, the colors I used. We're going to use some Mod Podge. And then our glitters, I'm going to use the Muse from Recollections. It's like a dark purple, it's really pretty. And I'm going to use Stardust from Peachy Olive Glitters. This is a beautiful white. I was using a white actually from Recollections for a little while, and it just didn't sparkle. It just, I mean, it was okay, but if it was okay if you didn't want a lot of sparkle on your cup, but if you want your white to sparkle, this color is perfect. It's so pretty. So you'll see as we get to start working on that. And then for the chunky glitter, I'm going to add a little bit, this is a Recollections again, chunky glitter, but it's a little bit of a purple. And I'll show you the image, the waterslide image that I'm going to use. It's a horse, kind of like a watercolor horse, but it has all these different colors. And I just thought it would be really fun to pull that purple out. So give me a second, I'll grab that image for you. Okay, so I already have this image, it's already cut out. I joined a subscription that has monthly swag bags that you get tumbler items and craft items in the bag. So it's actually pretty cool. So this water slide was a part of that subscription box, excuse me. And I'm doing an upcoming fair here in another week. So I'm just kind of making just a whole bunch of different color tumblers, designs, things like that. I live out in the country, so a lot of people have horses and farms and stuff like that. So anything horse related is really popular in my town. So this is the image that I will be applying to the cup. Isn't that pretty? I'm not even a huge horse person, but that image is really cool. So because it kind of seemed there was a lot of blues in there, I thought the purple would kind of be a really pretty accent color down at the bottom for the ombre look. And then the white, the top will be that white shimmery glitter. So that's what we're going to do. And because I'm not using my own water slide, I switched papers recently, brands of my water slides. I was having a hard time. And I did just switch to the Haze brand, which I'll link below for you. And I have not had a problem since. It's fantastic. So when I do my water slides, the images I create, I use that Haze brand, and then I seal it 3 times with a Rust-Oleum 2 times ultra clear. So I'll go ahead and put that in the descriptions below for you in case you're in my boat and you are having a heck of a time with your water slides, or if you're looking to start making water slides. And I can do another video for you as well. Just let me know in the comments below. I can do a water slide image from start to finish, how I upload it to my Silhouette Studio, how I print it, seal it, and apply it to a cup. So, all right, let's get started. I sprayed this cup because, oh, I have another cup there. I find, well, when I use white glitter, I always spray it white because you don't want to see the silver through the white, and otherwise it'll take like 5 coats of glitter to get that covered. So I do that. You probably don't have to spray it the purple if you don't have it. It's not a big deal. I have it. To me, I find that I use less glitter if I spray the base paint of my tumbler in the same color glitter that I'm going to use, or a similar color anyway. So you just use less glitter around, not to make it or break it. That's just my preference. So, and I also wanted to share a cool little tip. So the Peachy Olive glitters, like I showed you here, it comes in a bag, which is fine. I have a hard time sometimes applying it in a bag. So funny backstory with these little guys. I went to Vaughn's, and they had these little dessert shots. I don't know if you've seen them in the store, and it was like layered chocolate and chocolate mousse, and those look really good. So there was 4 in this little pack, so I got it for my husband and I to share, and we were eating it, and when I was done, I looked at it and I said, you know what? This makes a great, awesome little container for glitter. So I have 4 of these that I just washed out really good, and they are perfect for glitter. So the glitter that I get in a bag, I used with these. So I got chocolate and a glitter container. Not a bad situation, if you ask me. So, okay, you can kind of see that. Isn't it pretty? So pretty. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. So the first coat, I'm only gonna add the fine glitter. I'm not gonna add the chunky glitter until the second coat, and I'm not even going to cover it. I'm not even going to cover the whole bottom in the chunky. I just want a little bit of an accent on there. Chunky glitter will be your best friend and your worst enemy. If you've worked with it, you know what I mean. It's kind of a pain, but it gives a really pretty look. So I'm only going to add just kind of a light coat after my first coat on here. It sticks up. It's just epoxy repels from it. I don't know, it's kind of a nightmare, but it's pretty, so I try not to give up on the chunky glitter. Okay, so we're gonna get our cup, and I use this kind of a brush. I was using a foam brush for a while. I switched to an actual paintbrush style, and I just like it better. They last longer, my personal preference. So use what works best for you. Just like our other cups, you're going to cover the whole thing in Mod Podge. You can also do the epoxy method for this as far as glittering. I don't with my ombres because I want to have control of where my colors meet, how high up one goes and how down the other one goes. And with the epoxy method, I don't feel like I have that control that I want with the glitter. So if I'm just doing a solid color, sometimes I'll do it. I prefer the Mod Podge version personally, but it's all personal preference and what you're used to and what works best for you. So I just like that control. Makes me sound like a controlling person. I am not a controlling person. I'm actually kind of the opposite, but I guess when it comes to glitter, I am. Okay. And where I am now, I'm in Central California. It is hot. This is really hot. Kind of miserably hot. So my glue dries pretty fast. Usually I have a shop in our detached garage that I do my epoxy and stuff in, and my plan was to have my whole office out there, but the glue will dry too fast before I can get the glitter on. So I nix that idea. That was not working for me. Okay. Alright, we got our whole cup coated. And I do start at the rims. I think I've said that in some of my other videos. I start at the top here. And I always put a little extra. Make sure we get that rim nice and covered. Okay. So we're going to start at the top with the white. And then I'm going to go around the rim first. And then I'm going to start bringing that glitter down. Don't worry about using too much. You're not going to use too much. I promise you it'll all go back in your jar or your bag or your container. It'll look like you're using a lot. You are not using a lot. Okay, so I'm going to hold my cup at an angle just like I did in my other video, and I'm going to very lightly tap and bring that glitter down a little bit at an angle there. I'm going to go little by little, section by section. Shake off any extra glitter you have on there. Okay, so we got our white. Shake off that extra. Now we're going to switch to our purple. I did get a little white down here. Not that big a deal. Just gonna add a little bit of glitter. Glue on top of that. Okay. So now I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna start at the rim. I'm sorry, this is a funny angle, huh? Sorry about that. I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I forget that I'm filming and I just kind of go about my business and do my work, and then I realize later that was not a good angle for everyone to see, so my apologies. Okay. Alright, so we got that rim. The same thing, I'm gonna tilt it up and I'm gonna bring that purple down. Little taps. Okay. This part's not gonna look like the perfect ombre, and that's okay. It's just our first coat of the glitter. Okay. So now what I'm gonna do actually is I'm going to mix, just like I did in my other video. I'm gonna get some of the purple. I'm gonna mix it with some of the white, and I'm gonna bring that just right in the middle of my cup, just to blend those colors a little bit. If you have a little Dixie cup, put it in there. I'll show you in a second. I know I kind of moved. Sorry. So we're just kind of trying to blend those colors just a little bit. Our chunky's gonna hide some of that. We're gonna add a little bit more white. It's a little too purple for my taste. There we go. Okay. Okay. Bring it down a little bit. And I'm holding it up high, and I'm kind of going like this with my hands. So I'm just getting just a little bit in there. Alright. That's probably good for our first coat. We're going to shake off that excess glitter. Oops, forgot the bottom. Hello. Make sure you get the bottom. Don't pull them on brain like me. And forget the bottom of your cup. Worst comes to worst, you just put some more glue on it. There you go. So some of that glue dried. You can kind of see some of the spots. So that'll just be touched up. Once this dries, I'll go ahead and touch that up before we add our chunky. So that's kind of where we're at right now. You see the sparkle in that white? It's so pretty. So again, this right here is not the perfect ombre. We're going to blend that a little bit more on our next coat. And then I'm going to add a little bit of the chunky glitter kind of coming up just a little bit there. All right, so we're going to let this dry. I'm going to turn it upside down here. We're going to let it dry about 45 minutes or so. And then we're going to go ahead and apply our second coat. So we'll be back. Hey guys, we're back. Okay, so our glitter has dried completely. I did let it sit overnight. I had other stuff going and I didn't have time to film the rest. So it's been sitting probably almost 24 hours at this point. So what we're going to do now is we're going to add the chunky. And this was the Recollections, what's it called? Oh, the glitter's in the way of one of the words. But it's purple. Sorry, it's glued on there. I'll chip it off later and I'll put it down in the description for you. So anyway, so we're going to add a little bit of here. So I'm just going to add glue towards the bottom of my cup here because I'm not going to put the chunky glitter up at the top. So I'm just going to add kind of in this section. I'm not even going to put it down here at the bottom. So I'm not going to glue my whole cup. I'm just going to glue the bottom half. Just kind of up to a little bit of that rim right there. Almost. Okay. And I don't want to do it too high either because I don't want it to affect how we see our waterslide image when we get that guy on there. Okay. So we got our glue on. Now I'm just going to add, I'm not going to add a lot. For this cup, I don't want a lot. I kind of just wanted it like an accent. So I'm just Let me get it so I can see it better. I'm actually just going to dump some out. I'm going to get it and I'm just going to sprinkle it with my hands. I don't want to get it, I don't want to pour it out from the bottle because sometimes it does come out fast. This is kind of a little bit slippery as far as the glitter goes. So sometimes I found if I just kind of try to do it from the bottle, it decides it wants to dump out. And that's not what I want right now. So I'm going to do it manually. I'm going to have a little bit more control over this glitter right here. And you're going to be able to see the dark purple through this chunky purple too. And they're kind of like two different shades, which is completely fine because if you remember the image of the water slide that I'm doing, there's a couple different color purples in that image. And I know most of you know this already, but that glue will dry clear, so don't worry about that. I used to worry about that all the time when I first started working with Mod Podge. Oh my gosh, I messed up. It's not going to look right. Okay. I'm filling a little bit of the gaps. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my finger and I'm going to tap it down a little bit. I don't want those pieces standing up, because that's what's going to affect your epoxy there. Okay, you're just going to tap it down a little bit like that. You just don't want any of them sticking up. Yep. And then we are going to let this dry. It's later in the day. I'll probably just leave it overnight because I won't have time to do the next part. So we're going to let this dry and then we will come back when it's time to epoxy. So you're just going to lay all those flat, just as flat as you can. It doesn't have to be perfect. There you go. Okay, like that. Pretty. Okay, we'll be back for the next part. Okay guys, we are back and our chunky glitter has dried. So we are ready for the epoxy. First coat anyway, so I've got it mixed up here in my cup. And we're gonna go ahead and apply it. So, okay. Get my turner on. I love this turner, by the way. You guys are looking for a good one. I don't think this exact one is still available, but the same model. The little on and off switch, it's awesome. I'll put it down below for you. Okay. So we're just gonna go a little bit at a time. Now my goal is to not get the chunky glitter up in the white glitter. And even if you seal it, it doesn't always happen. So I do spray like a Rust-Oleum clear on here just to try to seal that glitter in, because I do want to keep this white top white. So I get a couple floaters in here and there, so I try to do the top and then kind of work my way down to the bottom. This is where the chunky glitter likes to be difficult. And it almost like, it's weird, it's like the epoxy kind of like soaks through it. I don't know, it's really weird, you guys. So like I said, I think I said this in the other video, or the beginning of this one, chunky glitter will be your best friend and your worst nightmare for this reason. So see how I get some floaters up there? So I'm going to try to get those and kind of guide them back down. There we go. Okay. And it's going to be a little bumpy. I do try to smooth it out as best as I can. Sometimes it's hard to do on the first layer. So we're going to let this spin. It's pretty hot. It's about 100 degrees here today. It's quite miserable, honestly. So the only upside to that is this tends to kind of cure pretty quickly. So I'll come back in a few hours and check it. Probably won't still do anything about it until morning, but got about even as a coat on there as we can get right now. And it'll still be bumpy, and that's okay. Where it's bumpy, we're just gonna go ahead and sand that out. Excuse me. And then that'll help smooth it out for our final, hopefully our final layer. So that's it. We're just gonna let this spin for 4 or 5 hours or so and turn it off, and then just let it sit until it cures. And then we're gonna get our water slide added on the top. So I will see you for the next step. Okay guys, welcome back. It's water slide time. So our epoxy has cured. I ended up doing one more coat of epoxy on it, just to flood coat it. It was still a little bit too bumpy for my taste, so I just, same thing I did in the video, and just one extra coat, just for peace of mind. So if you remember, here's our water slide. This is what we're going to use. And I think I said before, this was in a swag bag from a group that I'm in. So this came in the bag for this last month. So I didn't make this one myself. I'm using the one from her. I did seal it again on my own, just for peace of mind. So what I just did is I just kind of cut around the edges just a little bit. You don't want to cut too close to the image, just a little bit around. So I did seal that with the Rust-Oleum 2x Ultra Clear, and I'll put that down in the description for you. Okay. So what I do is I get my handy dandy packing plastic here. I think I showed you in one of my other videos, inexpensive way to go about this, holding your cup right. So I have where I want to place my image. I'm going to put it up here. We're going to slide it on just like this, and we are going to hope and pray and cross our pretty fingers that it applies to the little bump like we are hoping. So my water is, I usually pour it warm, and then I let it kind of come down a little bit in temperature before I apply it. Usually it'll take me a minute to kind of get settled. So I do want to keep my water lukewarm. So we're going to give that another second. What else that you will need is paper towel. And I use just this little brush right here. It just kind of helps me kind of comb out some of those bumps and creases. You want to get as many creases out as you can. You also want to make sure you have all of your water bubbles out. So I will show you why in a second after I get this on. You'll be able to see them, that's why. But I'll show you because I have an actual cup like that. Okay. So that's a little bit cooler now. All right, so we're going to drop our image. Excuse me. Right into there. This is what makes me nervous. I've done a bunch of them. For me, they literally will either come out perfect or they tear apart and they rip and they crack and make me question why I'm doing this. So it's either one or the other, and you never know what you're going to get, me personally. So while that's sitting, I'm just going to wet my cup. You want your cup to be wet, that way you can slide your image around a little bit. So I just kind of keep wetting it little by little. Your image will curl up, and that's okay. It'll curl up, and then it'll kind of start to lay flat. So after about 30 seconds or so, you want to pick it up. See how it starts to slide? We are going to slide that guy right on. So I'm going to hold the top. And there are 2 ways to do this. I'll tell you after, so I can kind of focus on what I'm doing. Otherwise, I'll stop doing what I'm doing and just start talking. So, okay, you're just going to slowly slide and try to kind of work out any creases I can as it's going on. It's so pretty. Okay. So you can kind of slide the image around. That's where these images come in handy. Okay, we're just going to put that to the side. Now, the harder part. This is where I bring my brush in. I get it wet, and I'm going to work out all of my creases as best as I can. Sometimes when it's on the lip like that, I can never get it perfect, but I get it to the best of my ability that I can. I do just make sure that there's no creases in the actual image itself. You want to start from the middle and just kind of push out and kind of work your way out a little bit there. Okay, there's a little crease in the horse's nose there. All right, so now I'm going to get my paper towel and I'm going to use that. And very lightly, I'm going to start kind of pressing in the middle and working towards the outer part of the image. You want to get every crease, every bubble that you can out. You want it to be completely flat, or as flat as possible. Like I said, sometimes on this lip it's a little harder than it seems, so very carefully, very, very carefully. I'm hardly touching the image right here. If you push too hard, you're going to tear your image. And then, well, you just did this for nothing. So, sorry, hold on, I got to turn the cup a little bit here. I don't know if you can kind of see some of those creases. There we go. We're just going to work it out little by little. Sometimes you can gently pull the paper just a little bit. That's why you want to make sure that your cup is wet. If your cup is not wet, your image won't slide. And then that will make it a little bit harder for you. So, okay. I think the top is pretty good. And we're just kind of working out a little bit at the bottom here. It's this part right here, this little spot. That's kind of a pain. So get it just as best as you can. Typically, I try to not have my image go down that little lip for this reason, but this was a bigger image, so, and it was one that I received, so I couldn't really control that part. So we're just doing with what we can, right? Go with the flow. Okay. Those little bubbles, man, I tell ya. Take your time, just be careful. Once you get them all out, you will want your cup. I let mine sit overnight. The haze paper that I use, that I'll put down below for you, and I'll show you. I just did a couple other cups with that water slide, so I'll show you with that paper. It does say wait at least 3 hours. I always wait a little bit longer because I'm a better safe than sorry kind of person, and I'd rather wait just a little bit longer and know that it's dry than try to rush it and find out it's not dry. Okay, so this right here, this is where it's kind of giving me a hard time. I'm actually going to try to cut a little bit right here because this part doesn't have the image on it. So I'm going to try to pull it up just a little bit, and just to try to cut out this part that doesn't have any image on it. It's just kind of extra paper, so to say, but it's what's making it kind of that crease. Excuse me. So I'm gonna wet my fingers again a little bit. There we go. That's better. Now you can't see it. Okay. So it takes practice. I don't know how many I've done, but I'm still getting the hang of it. Like I said, some will go on easy breezy, and some I just want to throw out the window because it's not so fun. So, but it is important. Make sure you get all those bubbles out. Even if you think, okay, well, I can't really see it, it's not too big there. When you put your epoxy on, you will definitely see it. It almost like emphasizes it, like highlights it or whatever. So, okay. And then I'm only going to mess with it so long. As soon as it starts to dry, if you keep messing with it, you could start to crack the color. I've noticed that sometimes I'll just keep messing with it and I'm like, oh, it's just not getting right. And then I realize, oh, the letters start to crack, or, you know, the image is cracking while I'm starting to rub off the ink because it's drying. So remember, only do it for so long. You do want to work fairly quickly when it comes to water slides. Sorry, I know this is not a good angle for you guys, but I have to get these little bubbles right there. Okay. And there we go. Isn't that pretty? So I'm going to let this dry overnight, and then tomorrow I will put the final coat of epoxy on it, and I will show you pictures of our final product. So I'm going to put that over here. Excuse me. And then this I was going to show you real quick. So this is another cup that I did. It's a fire cup. I do have another tutorial. If you log back onto my channel, you can see it on there. So first I tried water slides for the images on the bottom for the trees here. And if you look kind of closely at some of them, right here, I don't know how well you guys can see that right here. See, there's little tiny bubbles. That's what I was talking about. So you do want to make sure you get every single bubble out, because otherwise you will see it. So this is kind of my, I don't want to strip it and redo it cup, so I just sit and stare at it cup. The guys, however, I did vinyl. So my next cup that I did a bigger version. I just did all black vinyl. Excuse me, because I found it was just much easier. I mean, you're getting the same effect anyways. So for me, it was just easier just to do the black vinyl, and I knew it was just not going to have to mess with it. So this is one of the other water slides I just did with the haze paper that I was telling you about. So, excuse me. So sorry, this cold is not going away. So for this, I do use an inkjet printer. I just have, I think it's the Epson, oh no, it's an HP printer. Inkjet, regular old ink, same stuff you'd get at Target or Office Max, whatever. I get the haze paper off of Amazon, and print it off of there. I seal it 3 times with the Rust-Oleum 2 times clear. And once it's dry, I put my image on. So this has been the best paper so far that I've used. I've tried, I think, 2 other different brands, and one of them worked fine for the first couple ones, and then decided it did not want to do it. So it just kept tearing on me. And then here's another guy. So you can do a lot with water slides. They're really fun. They are tricky. Give yourself some credit and some patience, because it does take a while to learn. So if you have any questions, let me know below. We'll let that cup dry, and you'll see the final product. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you like this video. Give it a thumbs up if you do, and subscribe for more. See you next time.